This room is super hot, guys, and with all the lights on, I cannot sit here more than 20 minutes. I just hope that I can finish this video within this time. One take. Hey guys, it's Naushin and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about this highly coveted Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I got it a couple of days back and ever since then I have been playing with all the shades. I have created quite a few looks, so I formed a concrete opinion on that. Honestly guys, before getting this palette, I was not thinking at all putting a review because let's get real. My YouTube is flooded with all the reviews for this palette. So I felt like there is no point of putting up another review. You have already got to know about this palette, but I have changed my mind when I got this palette in hand because when I played with the shades, I felt like, I have a lot to talk about this palette. So I need to talk to you guys and let you guys know because this palette is currently sold out, but Morphe has announced that they are gonna restock it one more time. So I'm not sure whether there will be multiple restock, but you will get at least one chance to get this palette. The exact date is not announced yet, but they will probably announce it on their Instagram. So you will get another chance to get this palette. So I felt like, okay, I'll let you guys know my honest opinion on this palette. I love Jaclyn Hill. I really appreciate her hard work on this palette, but my review will be completely based on this palette and completely honest. No matter how much I love her, no matter whether I love or hate Morphe brushes, my review will be solely based on the quality of this palette. So this palette was $38 and Morphe doesn't do free shipping below $75. So if you are getting just this palette, you need to pay a shipping charge inside US, which is $8, and if you are living outside US, good luck on that because that shipping is crazy. I saw that the Australian shipping is as high as $27, and even for Canada the shipping is pretty steep. So on top of that, you are paying the sales tax, which is equivalent to around like 10%. So if you include all that, the price goes almost like close to $50. Can I justify the price? Of course not, because at the end of the day it's Morphe, and obviously you are paying for the name Jaclyn Hill, but still at the end of the day it's Morphe and it doesn't consider as a high-end brand, but the price you are paying is close to any high-end brand. And for high-end brand, I would say like most of the high-end palettes are around 40 to 45 bucks, and few of the palettes you will find on the higher end of 50 bucks, like the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. So you are paying the same price for this palette. So I'll be very skeptic when I'll explain the shadow quality and everything, because let's get real, when you are charging this price, then why not compare them with the high-end palettes, because that's what you can expect from this palette, right? Because you can say this is Morphe, why you are comparing it with the other high-end shadows, because you have certain expectation from certain range. But when you are charging such steep price, definitely I want the quality to be there, right? Now let's come to the packaging. The packaging looks really elegant from far, but when you touch it, it definitely has a cheap feeling. It is not like the regular Morphe palettes, like it is not plastic, it is made of cardboard. So it is better than the regular Morphe palettes, but when you touch it, it still has that cheap feeling. And this signature of her is not embossed. But let's get real. This is white and silver. You are gonna get stain all over it. At the end of the day, it's an colorful eyeshadow palette, right? You are gonna use it and you will get stain. I have already got some here, and the cardboard is it doesn't have that glossy finish, so I don't know whether you can wipe them with the cloth. I will try to remove some stain because I have already got some. So this is gonna get dirty. This looks elegant now, but this is gonna get dirty in a month. I can definitely see that. Now inside the packaging, she has a little note here. This palette is dedicated to all my loving subscribers, and her signature. I really appreciate this little personal touch, but I would definitely appreciate a mirror here, because let's get real, not everyone does their makeup in front of a nicely lit vanity. So most of the time, even me, I'm doing my makeup holding the eyeshadow palette, and I love to use the mirror from that palette. I don't like that I'm holding a huge gigantic eyeshadow palette here and then I have another palette, probably I'm placing it here only for the mirror. That's not realistic at all for me. So I would love that if they would have included a mirror here, because I would probably think of traveling with this palette, even though it is a little too big to travel with. But if you were thinking of traveling with this palette, you would definitely miss the mirror here, because most of the time in hotels and outside, people use the mirror from the eyeshadow palette because that is really handy. And another thing is like all the 35 eyeshadows doesn't have any name written here. I know they have a name and they have included this small piece of paper, but if you are ordering multiple eyeshadow palettes, you are getting only one paper. So not everyone is getting this thing. So that's kind of a bummer because I know they all have a name. Then what's the point of naming them if you cannot, you know, get to know them while you are working with those eyeshadows? So this piece of paper I'm definitely gonna lose. I need to find a way to stick it here, but most of the people, as I know, that haven't got even this paper. So that would be a good thing to, you know, at least write down the name here or at the back of the palette, but you don't find it anywhere, not even in the box. Like the box looks exactly like the palette, the front side, and in the back she has something written here with her pictures. But I would definitely appreciate that if the names would be written here, because otherwise what's the point of, you know, naming these palettes. Now let's get into the eyeshadows. You are getting 35 eyeshadows, so the price was $38, so you are paying a little over $1 for each pan. But honestly guys, I don't find any sense for this breakdown, because you can say, oh, it is a bit cheaper than the individual Morphe shadows, which is I believe like $2 a pan. But the whole purpose of getting a palette is you want some shadows at a cheaper price than the individual shadows, right? Because you are sacrificing the customization ability. So when you compare it with the single pans, I don't find, you know, I don't get any sense with that comparison. But definitely, yeah, each pan is a little over $1. So from that perspective, you are getting a lot of product here. One thing I would mention that this palette is lacking is a perfect matte highlighter. They have included these two beautiful highlighter, but both of them are a bit shimmery. So I would love a matte highlighter, because sometimes I feel like with the shimmery looks, I personally prefer a matte highlighter. Now let's talk about the quality of the eyeshadows. For the matte eyeshadows specifically, I would say guys, I have seen significant difference with the regular Morphe eyeshadows. I have found them very soft, very blendable. They blend beautifully on the eyes. You have probably seen some swatches. I will also put up the swatch at the end of this video, though I feel like, you know, the hand swatch doesn't make any sense. Sometimes you don't, you know, they're swatching differently on hand, and when you blend them, this is completely different. So still I would put up some swatch, because, you know, some of you are interested in hand swatch, so I'll put up it at the end of this video. But when you blend these matte shades on your eyes, they blend beautifully, and surprisingly, I have experienced zero fallout from the matte eyeshadows, because when you dip in your brush, they are so soft, they feel a little powdery, and you will see the powders flying around, so you can naturally feel like, you know, you will experience a lot of fallout. But when I try to blend them, there was absolutely zero fallout. I mostly love the lighter shades. I felt like the lighter shades have better quality than the darker matte shades. Few of the darker matte shades, like this brown here and this brown, I found a little bit challenging to blend with, but the lighter shades are very creamy, and I was pretty impressed, because I could definitely see significant difference with the regular Morphe matte shades. Now let's come to the shimmery shades. Honestly guys, when I first saw Jaclyn's swatches for the shimmery shades, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get some really good metallic foil shades from this palette. But few of the shades I would say definitely very foil and metallic, like these two I was pretty impressed. But for most of the shimmery shades in general, I was kind of disappointed. I haven't found that much pigmentation or, you know, foil finish in one swipe, not like that. So you can definitely make them work, but you need some mixing medium, maybe Fix Plus, or wet your brush with water, something like that. But it's not very metallic with one swipe, as you would probably expect from her swatch. So that was, you know, something I was a little disappointed with the shimmery eyeshadows, and especially like these, this purple one I have used today, I found a little bit challenging. When you swatch them, they swatch beautifully, but I found them a little bit challenging to work with them when I was trying to blend them. And these matte shades here, this is not matte though, this has a little bit shimmer here. This was like, you know, when you swatch them, they swatch beautifully, but I found a little hard time blending this one as well. So for the shimmery shades, I would say they are kind of hit and miss. Few of the shades are really good quality, but for most of them I found them a little bit drying, but I was pretty impressed with the matte shades. But overall, the quality of the eyeshadows, if I compare it with other Morphe eyeshadows, I can definitely see they are significantly better in most of the shades. But if I compare it honestly with other high-end shadows, maybe some of them are as good as other high-end shadows, but not all of them. I am comparing them with other high-end shadows. I'm not comparing them with NYX because now this price point is, you know, equivalent to other high-end eyeshadow palettes price points. I didn't want to make this video too negative, but honestly guys, I wanted to give you guys my honest opinion. I'm not absolutely disappointed with the palette. I'm still gonna use it. I love the matte shades. I love few of the shimmery shades, but if we were expecting all the shimmery shades to be, you know, very metallic and foil, you're not gonna get that. But overall, I'm not at all disappointed with the palette. Overall, they did a great job. This is definitely better than other Morphe palettes. Now let's come to the color selection. If you look at this palette at a glance, it looks beautiful, and even though it has like more warm colors, but let's get real. Jaclyn Hill loves warm colors, so this is her palette. We can definitely expect some warm colors. I personally love warm colors, so I was very happy with all those warm colors. But if I need to be picky, I would say, like, even though you are getting 35 eyeshadows, some of the shades she could have skipped. Like these two shades, definitely they are not exactly the same. When you swatch them side by side, definitely they have some difference, but one is a little bit yellow undertone, one is a little bit cooler. But honestly guys, when you blend them, you don't need both of them. You could work with, you know, either of that. So I personally feel like some of the shade, like these browns here, there are quite a few browns here. So one is definitely warm, one is a little bit, you know, cooler brown. I can understand that, but you definitely need that if you are a pro and you are doing makeup on others. Maybe you need, you know, different transition shades for different skin tone and different kind of browns. But I'm talking from an average customer's point of view. I would personally prefer to have some variety of colors instead of some you know, similar repetitive shades. I would not, let me correct my word, it's not repetitive, but like similar shades, because these are not the same shades. Because honestly guys, when I look at this palette and try to create a look, either it's gonna be very warm look or I need to stick to this quad. That's why you will see that 90% of the tutorial you see on YouTube are based on this quad, because this is the, you know, main attraction of this palette. Your eyes goes first on this quad here, because this is different than the whole palette here. Definitely I appreciate the warm colors, but I would prefer a little more variety here. Maybe these, you know, these pink three here, a little bit lighter or darker, they are definitely different, but I would love to see something different here, especially when you are getting 35 eyeshadows. It's good to have some variety here. So overall, what I feel about this palette, honestly, I like this palette. I'm gonna reuse it because I love all these warm colors, but I wanted to give you guys my honest opinion on each segment, the price wise, quality wise, packaging wise, so that you can form your own opinion. If you get this palette, you are not gonna regret. If you skip this palette, if you couldn't get your hands on this palette, there is nothing to, you know, regret about, because yeah, definitely you are not getting the name Jaclyn Hill palette, but you are not missing something very big. So if you get it, still you are a winner. If you don't get it, you are not missing anything. So that's my personal opinion guys. I really hope that you have found this review a bit helpful. If you have enjoyed it, if you like my review, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe if you already haven't, and please make sure you ring the bell. I don't know whether it is on this side or this side, but make sure you ring the bell. Otherwise Facebook doesn't put notification for future videos. So that's it guys. I will talk to you soon. Till then, stay well, stay beautiful. Bye bye beauties.